thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be going through the repotting of this beautiful developing Trident Maple. Still got work to be done with regard to the structure of the tree and ramification, but it's due for a repot definitely. It was last done in July 2017 and it's now July 2021. So 4 years in this little pot is long enough for this tree. It's quite firm in the pot. So I want to run through just the process that I go through and step you through it, so it will hopefully be of some assistance to anyone looking to repot their bonsai. So let's get into it. So to free the tree from the pot, because you'll find that they bind together quite seriously after a number of years, depending on the root growth, I use a root sickle. Now this sickle is just designed to break the bond, but you need to be careful because it's got a serrated edge on it. It's a highly effective tool, but it can do some serious damage to your hand. So just make sure you keep your non-working hand well away from the drag on the sickle, because as it frees from hitting the particles, you'll find that it can often jump and do some serious damage. So now we've got the tree out of the pot, it's time to get that out of the way. Prepare the pot before we even touch this root ball. Next I want to put in the tie-down wires for the tree, so I'm going to run them from diagonal to diagonal to keep the wire as far away from the central tree as what I possibly can. So to measure how much wire that I'm going to need, it's approximately 2/3 around the edge of the pot, gives you your accurate length that you need for tying them in. And always run 2 wires. So again, 2/3 the width of the pot, around the edge of the pot. And cut. So with the wire nice and straight, take a length and put a nice sharp right angle into the wire. Then take the wire, measure it from the edge of the hole to the edge of the hole you're going to join the wire to, like that, and then do another sharp right angle turn, so you end up with like a U. And feed that through the mesh. And you'll find that the wire will sit nice and snug with no slack on the base of the pot. And simply repeat the same process for the next 2 holes. There we go. Pot's now ready for some basic potting mix, so some potting media, and then we'll get into working the root ball. Alright, for working the roots on this and every of your bonsai, there's some basics to cover off on first. Safety. These things are great. I can't tell you how many times I've been hit in the eye with a flying bit of dirt coming out of here when you're in a frenzy trying to rake those roots out. So always work with some goggles on. Gloves, I like it because it sort of protects my hands from any wear and tear, anything can go wrong. Some great root pruning scissors, nice big thick heavy blade on these things. Root rake of different kinds, different sizes. The lighter ones for the more delicate work, and the big heavy ones for the hardcore heavy duty work that you'll do. A nice chopstick, something strong and durable, but it's for the most delicate of work when you're working the fine roots, and also later on, which we'll get to when we're putting extra potting medium back into the pot and working it in between the root particles. Another thing we use is a root cutter. This is designed to remove any of the big, thick, heavy roots that are growing down or in the wrong spot or need a bit of a cutback. It's got a nice flat base on it, so they work beautifully. So let's get into this root ball. So now before we get on to cutting the base of the roots underneath the trunk, one last job I've got to do is with an old toothbrush just go through and clean up any of the moss off the base and the barry and lower trunk. Just give it a final clean up before we get ready to put it back into the pot. Nice beautiful flat root base, very fine feeder roots around the edge, slightly sloping to the sides, and I clean the barry. So now it's time to put the tree into the pot. So we've done the repotting work. Now the next most important thing that we need to do for this tree is to give it a good thorough soaking with water. That washes out any remaining fines in the mix, gets rid of any dust, any dirt, anything that might have been left in the mix before being sieved and cleaned out. So I find that a really thorough watering until you can see clear water coming out the bottom of the pot is very, very important. So we're done repotting this magnificent bonsai, this Trident Maple. It's messy work, so don't do this in your lounge room. You can see I'm covered in bits of dirt, but it's one of the most important things that you'll ever do with your bonsai. You reinvigorate them, you set them on a path for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on the repotting frequency that the tree needs, what stage of development it's at. But for me, this is a beautiful tree, and it's definitely worth the time it takes to repot and every second of effort that goes into it, because I know it's more than likely going to be another 3 to 5 years before the tree gets to come back in the workshop and get a bit of work done like this. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for checking things out, and make sure that you subscribe and hit the notifications button and give it a like. And also pass on any comments that you have too. I'd love to hear from you. It's been great. Until next time, happy bonsai.